How we doing, y'all? We've made it through another week. It's now the weekend for me. Had a shorter day today because yesterday went long. So, week 11 college football was awful. It was by far my worst week, and it wasn't even close. I was surprised to see I actually did fairly well on the YouTube channel, but my own wallet itself, it was not good. I think it was a 17 and 13 day. Not good. A lot of bad beats. Now on the show, we went 14 and 13, but we only went 1 and 3 on our best bets, and that hurts me a little bit. A couple of those were bad looks, really. I mean, Oregon should have covered. They really should have. They played awful in the first half. There's a couple of times they could have scored more than just a field goal. So really, at the end there was a time where they scored a field goal, and then they could have scored a touchdown, but they settled for a field goal, and that 4 points right there would have got us over the total. So unfortunately, we didn't get it. And BYU, same thing. What the hell was that? I know it's a rivalry, but they were trailing the whole game, needed a field goal at the end to win. So yeah, we missed covering that by 1.5 points. I apologize for that, but hey, we still end up 14 and 13 on the YouTube channel as a whole if you've tailed all of the picks. So I don't know many people that went very well last week. It was rough. That was a lot of underdog situations last week. So we got Cal, we got New Mexico, we got BC, we got Navy, we got Marshall, which was added live to the best bets but wasn't on the graphic. We got Army. Daly did play in that game. We got Kansas. They won outright. That was a big upset. Duke, Tulane, Mississippi State, Arizona State, Notre Dame, Mizzou, and Penn State. And we lost the Iowa UCLA under. We lost UNL Monroe. Minnesota didn't even win the game. That was weird. Purdue, same thing. Can you not score at least once? That was awful. Florida, yeah, they played terrible too. It was a surprise. They've been playing people close, and they didn't against Texas. Miami also laid an egg, and when I saw Haynes Keene coming back, I was like, oh no, I should have absolutely went with Georgia Tech. That was dumb. I bet it too early. Georgia, safe to say Georgia's they're just not as good as they were in recent years, and I think a lot of it comes down to the offensive coordinator. Indiana, we lost. That could have happened though. I mean, they could have played better. Lost Oregon State. We lost Vandy. The Vandy party seems to have fizzled out a little bit. We barely lost Oregon. Lost Boise State. That was weird. That was a bad bet. I don't know why Boise State was playing close to Nevada. And then BYU, close one. So 14-3 on the week, 1-3 on best bets. We're still 22-11 on the locks and best bets on the year. And then the ATS record, 180 and then 149 with 2 pushes. So let's get into week 12. We will have a few basketball plays tonight as well. I'm trying to transition over to that because the lines are very sharp in football right now. How we doing, Bailey? How we doing, y'all? How we doing, lurkers? Let's get after it. So Tulsa is basically just a really good high school team, which is why you're seeing East Carolina favored quite a bit here. So I think if this gets down to 14, you probably go East Carolina here. It's 15.5 over there. You stay away from that number. So I think if you got to pick this game, I think you got to go East Carolina. Let's see if you can get 14. I don't know if you will, though. Wyoming seems like the good side here. Colorado State has played a really easy schedule. Wyoming's playing better of late. They're not a good team, but I think 9.5 might be too many points. And they're at altitude. They're used to altitude. Wyoming is also at altitude, so that's not going to be a problem. And that's not that long of a trip. It's also a rivalry. North Texas, UTSA. Both these teams score a lot. And that's why the over-under 72.5. But there's so many ways for college students to screw up in a game to where this over doesn't hit. So give me the under 72.5, even though both offenses light it up. Last week, North Texas did not light it up. they had a really tough time scoring, lost 14-3 to Army. So 3 is not going to cut you the 72.5 there. UCLA, Washington. Washington has Oregon on deck after a bye. Rivalry. UCLA's been playing better. So I kind of lean UCLA. But I don't like it. I don't think I'm going to pick this game. But if you were to pick this game, I think I would go with UCLA. They play a really good defense. And Washington's probably looking ahead to Oregon, even though they have a bye week. And they just got smacked in the face by Penn State. And UCLA just won outright in a game. They beat Nebraska, and then they played really well against Iowa last week. So they're looking pretty good lately. And this is on a Pacific time zone time, so they don't have to worry about that. So I think you see a tight game here, and I probably would lean with UCLA. I'm kind of like fade Arizona at all costs right now because I don't know what happened to them. So I would lean with Houston +2, even though they're not very good either. But they've been playing better than Arizona lately. So that's really what it comes down to. But I am probably not going to pick that game, personally. Arkansas getting a lot of points at home here against Texas. They hate Texas. So you got to think they probably get up for this game. But here's the thing. Texas, they need to keep impressing just in case another loss comes along. So I think Texas wins this game. But it's not a bad play to throw short change on Arkansas on the money line. You're talking like, what's $2 get you? You get $7.50. It's not a bad play to do a money line sprinkle on Arkansas here, but I don't think it'll happen. But they are definitely a live dog if they're playing their A game. But I'm staying away from this game completely. A lot of points here. You probably think, wow, Utah's, they play good defense. How the hell can you beat them by 11? Well, here's the problem. Colorado is on a mission. They're really confident right now. They still control their own destiny to get into the Big 12 championship game, maybe even the playoff if they win outright. Even if they win the conference, they'll go automatically. But if they were to, let's say, win outright but lose conference championship, maybe 11 seed, probably not, but maybe they have an outside chance. I don't think it would happen. I think Big 12 is absolutely a one bid league unless BYU goes like 12-1. They lose the championship game. Then maybe BYU sneaks in as 11, but I don't see that league getting more than one team. But anyways, Colorado looking good right now. Utah, you got to wonder where their heads are at. They just lost to the rival. They could have played spoiler. BYU last week. They were winning the whole game. Literally the last 5 seconds of the game was the only time that they were losing. You gotta feel like they might feel defeated right now. There were some referee issues too. I don't know. I think Utah, with higher expectations, then they finally, now we get a chance to salvage our season against BYU, and it doesn't happen. They might throw in the towel here. I don't think Kyle Whittingham will let his guys do that, but it sure feels like that they just might give up here. So I would lean Colorado here, especially if this gets down to 10. But I still like the 11. You're looking at maybe a 25-14 game, something like that. Maybe a 28-17. Before this week, Pittsburgh probably would have only been +6, +7, but they have slid down the toilet recently. And Clemson does seem like they still are trying to bust their ass into the ACC title game and get a playoff spot. So I think I would go Clemson here. I don't like it at 11.5, though. I'd prefer it at 10. But once again, I could see maybe a 21-32 game, something like that. Maybe a 30-19. maybe a 30-17, something like that. I think Clemson can cover this game. Not a lot of value, though, so keep that in mind. Yes, I am pre-gaming for a basketball game tonight. College basketball season is here. I'm staying away from this game. Ohio State's got Indiana coming up, though, and Michigan. So you kind of wonder, a little look-ahead spot. But I'm not going to pick that game. Navy Tulane. This is a huge game for Group of 5. If this was at 7.5, I'd probably go Navy. Just because they're at home. It's a long trip for Tulane, coming down from New Orleans all the way up to Annapolis. I just think there's no value here, to be honest. I just don't think there's value. If it gets to 7.5, I think you go Navy. Maybe you just go moneyline Tulane. I don't know. I don't know what you do here. I just think you gotta stay away because I just don't have a good feel for which Navy team we see. Are we going to see the team that pooped their pants against Notre Dame? We're going to see the Navy that looked really good last week and dominated South Florida. I don't know. Same with Tulane. Are we going to see the one that pooped their pants against Oklahoma? Or are we going to look at the one that's like dominated everybody the last few weeks? So it's just, I don't like the inconsistency. I think it's going to be a good game, though. It's a very important game, too. I think this is Western Kentucky or no play at all. They're 7-2. Pretty good season so far, and it's at home. My gut tells me UNO Monroe, just to keep it within the number. Auburn's notorious for losing these games or not covering. You know, with Bama on deck. I think they got somebody else. I think they got Texas A&M too, and then Bama. But for some reason, I feel like they win by 21. But I'm staying away from that game. I like Marshall here. Marshall came through for us last week. They're playing good football right now. I'd probably get on this soon, though. You don't want this to get to 10. But I definitely think Marshall can cover this. Maybe you throw Marshall in with one of your parlays and just get them down to -7 or -6. That's what I'm probably going to end up doing, too. I like to make one parlay every weekend, maybe sometimes two. But I'm mostly a singles guy. Singles is what gets your money every week, right? But I'm probably going to throw Marshall in on a parlay at like -6. Just to get yourself a better number. If this was Murray State, Kentucky basketball, the spread wouldn't be that. You would definitely take Murray State. But I'm not going to pick that football game. Alabama's probably going to cover. Now, keep this in mind. Mercer's a really good FCS team. They play in the SoCon, one of the better leagues in FCS, and they are leading that league right now with a one-game lead over Chattanooga. So keep that in mind. Mercer's no slouch. I don't know. That's a big number. But Alabama did cover handily this kind of number against Western Kentucky. It was a smaller number, but they ended up covering by a lot. So Western Kentucky, it would beat Mercer. So keep that in mind. Mercer plays better defense than Western Kentucky, but they're not going to score very much in this game. So Mercer might score 3 or 7 here, but if Alabama's offense is clicking, I think they could cover that game, but it's a huge number. I usually don't bet those games, but you got to think with the Western Kentucky formula, they probably do cover. This is going to be a good game. I kind of would lean with Michigan State here, though. The road dog. Oh, and you get +3 here. Yeah, because I could see this coming down to a field goal. So I think I lean with Michigan State. I don't love it, but I probably, if that gets a 3.5, I think you got to go Michigan State. I do like this game. I think Syracuse, that's too many points for them. Oh, 9.5. Yes. Yes. Cal's good. And they're at home, long trip for Syracuse. But Syracuse did pretty well when they went all the way to UNLV, which is almost as long as that trip to Cal. So, yeah, I might add Syracuse to best bets at the end here. I think 9.5 is too many points. I think Cal wins by 7, maybe 6. I think it's too many points. Syracuse is a good offense, you know. McCord, he isn't hurt, is he? Kyle McCord hurt. He's got to be playing, right? Is there something I don't know about? Has suffered multiple. Oh, that was 2013 or 2023. No, I don't see anything on that. So yeah, I think you got to go Syracuse here. They score too many points to lose by that much. Now they didn't look good against Virginia Tech, or no, they did look good. They won that game. So yeah, I think you got to go Syracuse here plus 9.5. That's one of the better plays of the day. And like I said, you can parlay that, get to 14.5, you know, with the Marshall and some of these other games. Let's see here. I mean, you got to go Penn State or nothing here, right? I don't think Purdue scores. If they do, it's 7. So you're looking at like a 35-7 game, maybe a 40-7. I think you got to go Penn State or bust. A lot of points to lay against Boston College, but SMU's looked really good recently. That's a no play for me. Spam call right now. LSU, oh man, they looked bad last week, but so did Florida. And Florida is like one injury away from a walk-on being full-time quarterback right now. They have some serious quarterback injury problems right now. And if you get a walk-on in there, you're looking at 4th string. Oh man, that could get ugly. But LSU, I don't know. I don't know if they can lay this many points in the swamp. It's 4 over here. I don't think I'm going to play this game. I could see the under hitting. If this gets to like 6, I think you got to go Florida. But if it gets to 3, I think you got to take LSU. But Florida could win this game if you want to do moneyline sprinkle. Not a bad play at all. A lot of points to lay against Virginia, but Notre Dame has been slapping people around lately. If this gets to 21, you probably lay it with the Irish. I don't think it is over here. No, it's 23.5, so it's money coming in on Virginia. One of the best bets of the weekend right here. Louisville, minus 20.5 at Stanford. Louisville is one of the toughest schedules. All 3 of their losses are against ranked teams. When they don't play ranked teams, they do really well. Stanford, now there's a trend with this. Stanford just got their 7th loss. Teams are typically still fighting. Like one of your goals at the end of the year is to go to a bowl game. Stanford just got their 7th loss, so they cannot go to a bowl game. And a lot of times, the week after you get knocked out of bowl eligibility, you just fall flat on your face. And Louisville is not the team to do that against. So give me Louisville. Stanford does not have a very good home field advantage. So yeah, I'm on Louisville all day here. That's one of the best plays of the weekend. I think you go Oregon State or no play here. Air Force is really bad. They're getting better. Oregon State also kind of fading a little bit. Early in the year, they were pretty good. Now they're not. I think they have a lot of injuries. So I think if you get this at 3, maybe you go Oregon State, but it is at altitude. And they're also still have a chance for bowl eligibility, so they do need this game really badly, especially with Washington State coming up in a few weeks. So they have to. This is a must-win for Oregon State. If you get this at 3, I think that's a good number. But 3.5 is a pass. I don't think this is a lock by any means, but I am on with my Vols. They are my second favorite team. I live in the state of Tennessee, so yeah, go with them, right? I have adopted them as my second favorite team. Now, strictly talking about business here, Georgia has been abysmal at covering this year. They didn't cover against Florida. They lost and didn't cover against Ole Miss last week. It looked terrible. Their offense is a mess. I am surprised their offensive coordinator hasn't been fired. Really surprised. But he's still there. And you're playing against one of the best defenses in the SEC right here. Maybe the best. I'd say it's pretty close between Texas and Tennessee. Maybe A&M sometimes, good defense too. But this is not a good task for Georgia, who's struggling offense to face a Tennessee defense. But on the other hand, Tennessee, Nico is injured. He's banged up. I don't think he's going to be playing. But their backup knows the system really well. He's been there for a long time. They're going with more. I think this stays within 10. Tennessee could win the game. If you want to throw a little miniature moneyline sprinkle, $3, win you 9. Not a bad idea. But the safest play is just take Tennessee in the points. Don't wait too long. This might get out of control. It might go all the way up to 8. We'll see. A lot of money coming in on Georgia. Now, Tennessee hasn't won at Georgia in a while, but I feel like they just keep this around 7. Maybe even win. Tennessee needs this game if they want to go to the SEC title game. Georgia needs this game just literally to go to the playoff. They're not going to the playoff if they lose this game. So it's very important for both teams. And because of that, I feel like it's going to be tight. So give me the Vols. Didn't make the best bet board, but it's a great play. I mean, if this gets to 7, you have got to slam Georgia Southern. I didn't see this at first. I didn't really study. I didn't see this number. I don't know why this is only 7.5, Chad. I don't. Troy's not very good. Wow. If this gets a 7, let's just put it up there. Let's put it on the best bets at 7. I'm putting it up on the board, Chad. What are we doing here? Why is Georgia Southern only 7.5 against a Troy team that has not done very well this year? So let's go with 7. Expect it to go to 7. If not, buy down to 7. So yeah, get it up there. I'm going to put it on the board. Let's go Georgia Southern. I like James Madison here. Old Dominion is going to be Joe Public's favorite pick this weekend. I think we can get 3. Yeah, we can get 3. No, we want 2.5 for James Madison. So I like that. Let's see here. I think everybody's going to be on Nebraska here, but I feel like USC needs this game, and it's a bad spot for Nebraska. I don't know if they have the offense to keep up with USC. I think this is just a pass for me. If it was at 7, I'd lay it with USC for sure, though. However, on the flip side of things, if it gets to 10, I think you got to go Nebraska. Too many points against Mizzou, to be honest. I think this is a overreaction to what South Carolina's been doing. They've looked really well. Oh, wow. You get 14.5 over here with Mizzou. I think what you got to do is split this game. You can go 13.5 with South Carolina and hedge it with 14.5 Mizzou. You're probably going to win one of those, if not both. So, yeah, if it hits at 14, you might win both. Well, hedging is a strategy that many pros use. Arizona State, Kansas State. So I think Kansas State, they play at home. They need this game. Arizona State's been pretty good. I feel like they can cover this number. I don't know. Like, why is it 8.5? I don't know. If this gets to 9, I think you got to go Arizona State here. Because I feel like Kansas wins by 7, maybe 6. I've been picking on Southern Miss all year. They are one of the worst teams in FCS or FBS. So I think you got to go Texas State here. I think they win 35-6. Don't be surprised if San Jose State hangs around with Boise State at home here. San Jose State can throw it around a little bit. They coached by Ken Niumatalolo. They've beat Oregon State. They only lost to Washington State by a few points. They're pretty good. San Jose State's not bad this year, so I wouldn't be surprised. You know, a lot of points here at home. Maybe Boise State only wins by 10, maybe even 7. So Boise State's really good, but keep that in mind, Chad. Oregon, Wisconsin. So this opened at 14.5. It's come down in Wisconsin's favor. Very hard place to play at Camp Randall. And it's at night. Place is going to be jumping. But here's the problem. The line. Now, if Oregon plays like we did last week against Maryland, we ain't covering this game. We only win by 3 here. We maybe even could get upset. But if we play like we have been, like we played against Michigan, Ohio State, some of those teams, I think Oregon wins this game by 17. So this number's not bad. It's not too far off here. It's now at 13.5, so you're getting a pretty good price. So I would go with the Ducks here, even though Camp Randall is a tough place to play. The problem is our line is going to bully their line. I think that's the difference in the game, is the line, the defensive line versus their O-line, our O-line versus their D-line. Now, we are expected to get one of our injured linemen back. Also, Wisconsin, this is the type of style that Wisconsin doesn't see very often. You know, kind of the spread offense, mobile quarterback, receivers, lots of speed. It's just not a style they're used to seeing. You know, the smash mouth style that they historically see in the Big Ten. It's a little different animal with Oregon, you know, with the more speed-based, but with some big boys up front. So I think you got to go with the Ducks here. But scary game, definitely. I think that's one of our toughest games on the year. UAB is pretty bad, so if this gets a 14, I think you can go Memphis. Washington State, New Mexico, huge number, so I'd go under here, 72.5. Too many points. I mean, I know both teams can score in bunches here, but there's just so many ways college kids can screw up to not hit this number. I mean, all it takes is one fumble. Like, let's say you take like 5 minutes off the clock and then you fumble, you're over's history. So I think you got to go with the odds there. You can take the under. One of the better plays. I know I've been riding them all year. BYU is really good. They've been really profitable too. Kansas has been scary lately, but they're playing at altitude now. They're playing a BYU night game in Provo at night. Is a scary place to play. It's going to be loud. They need this game. I don't think BYU is going to overlook Kansas at all. BYU is also feeling confident. They got over the hump against Utah. So I think BYU covers this game. I think they win by 7 or more. So I like the price here at 2.5. And that might be, yeah, that's it. That's all she wrote. I would lean with UNLV on that play as well. Let's look at some basketball games. I don't think it'll load for that one. I think we got logged out, but let's look at some basketball. I do have a best bet tonight for basketball. I'm going to go ahead and look at some of these games in the meantime. Old rivalry with Wichita State, Northern Iowa. That's be interesting. Chattanooga, Morehead State will be driving over to that game. That's why I got my shirt on right now. How we doing, Buddha? Howdy. How's your Thursday treating you? So we'll be at this game. I think Chattanooga wins. Big number to lay against Morehead State, who's, you know, they were in the tournament last year. They had 26 wins. It's a pretty good game mid-major level tonight against two teams with some tournament history. But I don't know if 11.5 might be too much. But the biggest game of all is Grand Canyon, Arizona State. Tyon Grant Foster still playing at Grand Canyon. So I would go money line Grand Canyon here. Maybe if you want to take them on the 5.5, go for it, unless you get a better number. But I do think Grand Canyon will beat Arizona State. It's at the Phoenix Suns Arena. Grand Canyon knows they need this game. They want to get in that large bid. They are. Keep in mind, though, Vegas has kind of almost overpriced Grand Canyon this year because everybody knows they're going to be good. This is probably one of the best mid-majors this year. If you even call Gonzaga a mid-major anymore, then you probably are looking at Grand Canyon, St. Louis as some of the better mid-majors this year. But the best play of the night, and it's going on the best bets board. We're going with Omaha, Nebraska, plus 17 at UNLV. UNLV is 1-1. Omaha is 2-1, and they have looked pretty decent. They beat Stetson on the road. They nearly upset Minnesota, and that's a Power 5 school. And I don't believe I remember what the other game was. I think it was they beat like a Division II team or something like that. But 17's too much. I think UNLV wins this game, but 17's a lot to lay. There's not going to be that much of a home crowd at UNLV for this kind of game. There's so many things to do in Vegas. There's shows. There's, music, comedy, gambling, other sports. You got the Golden Knights. You got the Raiders. There's so many things to do now. Nobody's going to be at this game. They only go to the games at UNLV if somebody big time's coming in. UConn, yeah, people are going to show up. You know what I'm saying? North Carolina, somebody like that. Duke, they're not going to show up for Omaha. There's going to be pretty empty. So give me Omaha just to hang around, keep it close, maybe lose by 13, maybe lose by 12. I like that tonight. That's my best basketball play. So let's show the best bets tonight. We did add Georgia Southern -7 as well. So we got Omaha, Nebraska tonight in basketball. 17.5 in some books, so shop around. But it's 17 at DraftKings right now. Money coming in on Omaha, as expected. Louisville -20.5. BYU -2.5. Georgia Southern -7. And that's a wrap, y'all. Be responsible. Don't get any addictions. Don't gamble your whole income. Just stick to like 1%. And yeah, y'all have a great rest of your Thursday. We're going to be over at the Chattanooga game. We're going to drive over to that. It's nice where we live. We can go to Knoxville and look at Tennessee games. We can go to Chattanooga games. We can go to Atlanta, Georgia Tech, Georgia State. We can drive over to Murfreesboro to watch Middle Tennessee State, or Nashville, where Belmont and Vanderbilt are at. Or Alabama. You got UAB and then Alabama. We got so many schools that we can just drive over to and watch a game, and we're doing one of those tonight. So y'all have a fun rest of your Thursday. I'll be back tomorrow.